For a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly! Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, Sports Call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
To Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson. Well, it's Tuesday afternoon. Been quite the eventful week already, and we're just starting to get rolling here. Look, I hope everybody's doing well. Appreciate you tuning into the show. We have a ton to talk about. Look, if you're a football fan, you're paying attention to this show, you know we got a ton to talk about, and we're going to try to hit every single thing. It's going to be tough in this hour slot, but we're going to try our best. Tony Barnhart will join us right here. Mr. College Football. You've heard him, well, just about everywhere when it comes to college football, including Sports Illustrated here on the SEC Network. You've heard him on the Feinbaum Show. He's filled in for Feinbaum before. He is going to join us at 12:15. Not going to want to miss that. Going to be really exciting to talk to him, as we had Bill Carr on yesterday with Carr Sports Consulting there for college sports. Once again, everything going on in the college world we are going to try to get to. But look, as we always start off our show here, we will continue to thank our first responders and healthcare workers this time. These folks are out there day in and day out on the front lines here, protecting us, keeping us safe, getting us back to normal, whatever normal may be. We live in an area, in a community that has such great police officers, firefighters, EMT personnel, nurses, doctors, all the first responders, healthcare workers out there, and they have been absolutely rocking it right now when it comes to what's going on with COVID-19. And if you're one of those and you're listening, thank you so much. We owe you so much for what you do, and we are appreciative of it. Make that very clear. Look, Coach, I know we have a ton to get to, but first things first, how are you doing today, my friend?
Hi, JP. Sorry about that. Doing well. And listen, as always, I certainly agree wholeheartedly with the thanks that you put out there before our show every day. And also to mention our sponsors, JP, what they do to stay with this show and keep us on the air certainly is something we appreciate as well. And what they do for the community, all of them, we could go on and on about that. But our first responders, all the people that have kept the tires on the road, really, while we get through this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Grocery store workers, we talk about truck drivers, all the essential out there, like you said, Coach. Look, once again, everybody practice patience. What's going on right now? We're going to get through this. We're going to be better for this. We're going to be stronger for this. And you know what? We are going to get back to somewhat of normalcy here. And look, things are starting to get a little bit normal. Obviously, in some other areas, things are spiking a little bit. But nonetheless, we can only control what we can control. And very happy with the way our community and what they've done. And look, once again, not a political statement. Make that very clear. I think it's a shame I have to say that. But if you can, throw on a mask when you're around other folks if you go out and about. It's not just about you. It's about all of us. And that's what we got to do to get through this thing. So maybe a minor inconvenience right now, but it will pay off significantly in the long run. So, look, Coach, to get into this, I know Tony Barnhart will be joining us here for long in about 10 minutes here or so. Going to be exciting. But, look, everything is still – we're waiting. I mean, I'm looking at TVs. I'm looking at my phone. I've got it set up here. I've got the computer set up, waiting to get alerts to find out what's going on. We know the Big Ten presidents are meeting today to discuss the football season. It was posted yesterday that the Big Ten canceled their season. Then all of a sudden everybody's coming out and saying, well, not so fast. Don't know if that was because there was a lot of blowback from that. The Pac-12 was supposed to meet today, even though people believe the Pac-12 will vote no to play. We'll see what happens. I think a lot of this is going to be interesting if one Power 5 conference doesn't play and the others do. And I think for the Big Ten here, Coach, look, Brent Baird, we had him on the Sports Drive yesterday out of Jacksonville. 1010 XL Radio there, does a great job. And he said something that it's actually been refreshing. He said if we can take anything from this, it's been really refreshing what we're seeing with these players, these coaches, and people coming together where for, let's be honest, a little bit of time here these past few months, we've seen kind of the opposite. We've seen the Pac-12 devise a group that wants to get paid. They want all these demands and everything, and it just seems like we're going the opposite direction. The Big Ten started something similar to that, but yet we saw some of the Ohio State players and say, no thanks, they don't represent us. So we're seeing some unity that maybe we didn't think we were going to see, or maybe when we saw the Pac-12 and what they were doing, we were like, oh no, here we go. So if there is anything to be said, I think Brent's right. We have definitely seen some unity. But with that being said, Coach, the Big Ten coaches, look, the players are speaking out. And, it's one thing when the players speak out. It's another when we sit here and we listen to coaches speak out. And it's interesting enough. James Franklin, Ryan Day, Scott Frost, that is Penn State, Ohio State, and Nebraska, if you did not know. Not too happy with the rumors that are going around that they could possibly cancel football. Now, according to them, and I'll play the clip here in just a second, these guys may be looking another direction. But I'll go ahead and play that. This is James Franklin, Ryan Day, and Scott Frost.
The Big Ten, as a cohesive unit, doesn't exist for this season. Are you still prepared to try and put together a season of some other sort for your kids who want to play if you are told by medical advisors you trust that it is safe to do so?
Yeah, I have a responsibility to my players and their families to exhaust every opportunity and option that's out there. Yes.
Okay, that's fair. I get it. And then I would ask you as well about the spring, because that's something that keeps coming up here. Things could get pushed back to the spring. Other conferences and other schools are talking about pushing to the spring. In your mind, at one of the prestige and premier programs in the country, what does spring football actually look like, and is it a realistic possibility?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm saying. That's another reason why you delay, because you're coming up with these other models so that when we say, okay, we are playing college football or we aren't playing college football, that now we can list out what the plan is for our future. This is how we're going to do it in the spring. This is why. Even if we push the season back, we have the ability to use the domes in the Big Ten, the weather is a little bit of an issue. So we could use the domes in Detroit, in Minnesota, and Indianapolis and do Big Ten weekends, at those venues from a weather perspective. So we got a bunch of really intelligent people. We got a bunch of creative people. Let's spend the next month coming up with solutions rather than just calling it quits.
When we were on quarantine, I was honestly worried about some of their mental health. Now that they've been able to come and practice together and get back together on the field, they look healthy again. They look great, and they really want a chance to play. Now, they want to have a voice. They want to choose, and that's all the information they've been giving me. So I think it's my job as the head coach to advocate for them. But they've done an unbelievable job up to this point, and they just want to keep fighting every day. They want to be together, and they've all shared. They feel like, and this is coming from them, they're safer here in our facility playing football than they would be without it. I'm not the only one to say that. Our Big Ten coaches, when we get on the call, they've all said that they want to play football. And so we want to support our guys the best we can and advocate for them to give them the best chance possible to play.
We want to play a Big Ten schedule. I hope that's what happens. Our university is committed to playing no matter what that looks like and how that looks. We want to play no matter who it is or where it is. So we'll see how those chips fall. We certainly hope it's in the Big Ten. If it isn't, I think we're prepared to look for other options.
Coach, that's James Franklin, Ryan Day, and Scott Frost right there. There's more coaches that are speaking out, by the way, but I picked those three, obviously. Coach, this seems that, regardless of what happens with the Big Ten, that the big boys, some of these big boys here may be going elsewhere to play some college football this fall.
Listen, I'll tell you, we touched on this yesterday with Bill Carr, thinking that he was just going to say, no, that's never going to happen. But he didn't, because you've got to understand, anything is possible. Now, let me tell you something else as well. There are 4 teams in the Big Ten. And the 3 that you just played, that's Penn State, Ohio State, Nebraska, and also put Michigan on that list. Harbaugh has already voiced his opinion. I think that if they should, and they've got to know this right now, that's a strong statement coming from coaches to go out there and put their neck on the line like they're doing. I'm telling you, that is a strong, strong opinion. If they decide not to play, I would guess that there are 4 teams, a minimum of 4, and I think others would follow, that would bolt and come up with a schedule and do whatever they had to do to play a schedule. I think you could almost count on it after what I've heard today. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And I think the SEC is going to play. I've said before, and I say it again, I don't think there's a president of an SEC school who would vote not to play. I think his tenure as president of that school would be very short if he did. My opinion. But I think we really could see something dramatic in college football if these conferences voted not to play.
Yeah, and Coach, going on, Ryan Day even went on to say, look, that if they need to, they'll consider a conference switch this year if needed to go play somewhere else. And some of these people are like, yeah, they're bluffing. These guys really want to play. I think this is obvious here. Obviously, there's some disconnect here between the presidents and everybody else. So that's, look, we had Brent Baird on the Sports Drive yesterday, and Brent Baird said a lot of these presidents, they couldn't tell you the difference between a football and a baseball. The sports, they like the money, they don't care as much, and what it's going to take to be able to play, they just assume cancel it or move it, into the spring or whatever and move on. They don't want to put up with this kind of stuff. So there's a obvious, like I said, disconnect between these guys, and so it's going to be interesting. Once again, we're keeping an eye on it. Supposedly there's going to be a decision made today for the Big Ten and the Pac-12. But with the Pac-12, Coach, here's the thing. So my thing is to you. I know it's different out there on what you call the left coast. Well, if the Big Ten makes the decision to postpone or maybe say, you know what, we're going to push this back. We're not going to make the decision. We're going to try to play some football this year. If they make that decision before the Pac-12, do you believe that that'll have any kind of change on the Pac-12's minds, whether they were going to play or not?
I'm not sure that I would bet anything on what the Pac-12 might do. And it's a shame that this has gotten to be so political now, but it has. And it's a part of the game. And I think you're going to hear the same from Tony Barnhart when we talk to him. But, and what Baird said about college presidents, there are probably some in the Pac-12, probably many in Pac-12 and maybe Big Ten, who don't know if it's football or baseball, or if it's pumped up or stuffed, and could care less. But they all know about that money that it drives. And I can assure you that there are contributions other than just the direct input or revenue from football, but there are donations to and contributions to all the different schools within a university that come because of football. They know that. But regardless, the ones in the SEC, I can assure you, they know whether it's pumped up or stuffed, and they know what football is, and they will rally to the cause. Now, I think it's going to be very, very interesting to get the inside information from Tony, and this is going to be it's going to be an interesting day, and it could be a day that changes the landscape of college football. Really could, because you could see some teams bolt and go to other conferences. I could see that happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, you know what, we're, like you said, once we come back from break here, we're going to talk to Tony Barnhart. And Tony Barnhart, listen, he is Mr. College Football. He is going to give us probably some insight that we have no idea about. And once again, though, this is ever changing. And you're right, Coach. Today could be a day that goes down in college football history where it changed the landscape. We'll see. This is like much like the virus. With everything going on in the virus, we kind of wait and see, and every day is something different here, and we learn something new. Who in the world knows what is ahead right now? But when we come back here from break, we will talk to Tony Barnhart, and we'll get some professional insight here. Look, of course, works with the SEC Network, Sports Illustrated. This man has a ton of answers. Hopefully, well, he'll tell us what we want to hear instead of maybe what we don't. We'll talk about all that when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Locally owned, ADX Communications is currently accepting applications for a lifestyle talk show host on News Radio 92.3 AM 1620. The position is part-time, Monday through Friday, and requires knowledge of our Escambia and Santa Rosa listening area and lifestyles. Schedule and perform on-air interviews with guests involved in local businesses, civic activities, nonprofits, arts, and entertainment. Send resumes to HR at newsradio1620.com. ADX is an equal opportunity employer.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson. This Tuesday afternoon, appreciate you joining us here in what is a whirlwind of a week, and it seems we're just getting started. And you know what? That's we have a special guest that hopefully can bring us some answers on what is going on right now in the college football world, to say the very least. Tony Barnhart joins us. You've heard Tony Barnhart before, writer, broadcaster for the SEC Network, columnist for TMGCollegeSports.com, Sports Illustrated, as well as a contributor to 680 The Fan in Atlanta. Of course, he was a reporter for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And, hey, look, graduated from the University of Georgia right there. Go Dogs. And, Coach, I know, look, he's known as Mr. College Football, so we're going to reach out to Mr. College Football to hopefully, get some answers on what in the world's going on. I know we got a ton to get to, so I'll go ahead and send it over to you, Coach.
All right, Tony, thanks so much for taking the time. This is a very busy week, and we muchly appreciate it. Thank you.
Always good to be with you, Coach.
Let's get right to it. We all know what's going on, and I'll tell you the most amazing thing. There are a number of them, but the most amazing thing is how many coaches have come out and really stuck their neck out on the line here. This is quite a happening. We got 4 coaches there in the Big 12. You got Day at Ohio State, Harbaugh, Franklin at Penn State, and Frost at Nebraska, all saying that pretty much committing to the fact that they're going to play, regardless of what the Big Ten decides to do. Now, that to me is revolutionary. But things are going to happen here. I really think the Big Ten needs to reassess where they are right now with, and at the very minimum, just put the brakes on for a while, like the other conferences, and try to find a way to delay things and come up with a better way to do it. But anyway, what are your thoughts right now where we stand?
Well, Coach, the situation with the Big Ten is unlike anything I've ever seen. Sunday night, the last 48 hours, Sunday and Monday, were incredible. And it was clear that what the Big Ten planned to do was to shut it down and to get all of the other Power 5 conferences to come with them to present a united front. Well, first of all, they met on Sunday, the Power 5 commissioners did, and they got the Big Ten got immediate pushback from the SEC and the ACC. And so that happened. And yesterday, what you're talking about, Coach, was the extraordinary thing of all of a sudden, all of these coaches in the Big Ten, Ryan Day, on and on and on, James Franklin, they all lined up together, said we're supporting our players. The Big Ten players led by Justin Fields and other players were saying we want to play. And so all of a sudden the Big Ten is getting massive pushback. Now, the question is it enough? Is it enough to get the Big Ten to change their course? The presidents, as far as we know, are meeting right now as we speak, and we may have a decision on this today. But you're right. It is revolutionary. We've always heard coaches and people push back against the presidents, but never in numbers like this. So this is, to me, is unprecedented.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think they've realized, I would agree totally, that the Big Ten has realized that maybe they acted a little harshly there in the way that they talked about the season. But I do think, as you look around the country, that in the SEC, I think they've done a very good job of putting together a schedule and the versatility that they've added to the scheduling so that they can live with some variation there. But I don't see, and especially with like Saban, Saban had a very good piece today that I heard him come out with, and he's right. And all these coaches and players will tell you they're safer on campus right now than they are at home. And the players are even saying that they realize that. So I think they're going to have to find a way to keep them separated from as much as they possibly can from the other students on campus, but as much of a bubble-type situation that they can put together, that's going to be the safest place by far for these players. The SEC, if you want to stay on as a president or a coach or athletic director or in any way involved with an SEC institution, your approach better be to play.
Well, there's no question that the safest place for these guys to be is on campus, getting the best medical care in the world, regular testing. Because if they go back home, they're not going to have that at their disposal. A place to work out that is pristine and how clean it is. And so, Coach Saban is right. Nick Saban is right that they are much better off on campus. Now, the decision whether or not to play is down the road, and that was a big point that the SEC and Commissioner Greg Sankey said yesterday. I mean, there are still 46 days until the SEC is scheduled to play a game on September 26th. And why would you give up that amount of time? You set up your entire schedule so that you would have as much time as possible to compile the data and that you'd have the open dates necessary in case you had to make up games. This decision has to be made, but it doesn't have to be made today. And that's the point that the SEC is making, and that's why, Coach, the Big Ten's getting so much pushback right now.
I agree totally with you. That's it's amazing that they couldn't look at that model and determine that there is time there and what's at stake is significant. But I suggest to you that when they come out of this meeting, the Big Ten today, that it will be to buy some more time. That's the safest thing they can do. But be interesting to see what happens from there. As you see the SEC right now, could you see in any way, Tony, that a couple of teams could play with an SEC schedule and be added to the league this year? It's been brought up as very difficult to think about at this point, but the SEC's only scheduled 10-game season, but it has the flexibility built into the schedule. Could you see a couple of other teams bolting and being allowed to play in the SEC?
Yeah, Coach, I think that's a long shot for a couple of different reasons. One is, the SEC has set up their schedule with two open dates. Everybody gets two open dates, one that's going to be in the middle of the season, and everybody's going to get an open date on December 12th. Those are put in place so in case you have to move a game, you have too many positives, something goes wrong, you have that. And if you add a team and add a game, then you've got to really push some dates even further back. The other thing to keep in mind is, I know it's been speculated a lot that, and Scott Frost, the Nebraska coach, said, well, we could go play somewhere else or something like that. Keep in mind, there is a clause in some of these contracts called a grant of rights, which means if you have signed a grant of rights to be in the Big Ten, then you can leave if you want to leave, but we get to keep your TV money. We get to keep your TV rights. The ACC has one of those to keep teams from bolting. So I think the hassle factor, when all is said and done, is going to keep the SEC's got a pretty good thing now. 10 conference games, 2 open dates. You would end the regular season by the end of December, and you could still have the playoffs in January 1st. And I don't think they're going to do anything to sort of upset that timetable.
Coach K, you there? I'm not sure.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there you are. All right, Coach.
I'm sorry. Okay. No, I agree totally with Tony there that they built that flexibility into a very, very wise, I think, schedule, and I doubt that they're going to do anything to change it. Let me jump, Tony, to we're playing the season right now, and forget about the virus and so on. Who do you like? I'm going to start in the East, in the SEC right now. No virus involved, anything else. Just
right.
Who do you see in the East at this point?
Well, I still like Georgia, although with Florida being a close second, a lot of people are going to pick Florida because they've got a veteran quarterback in Kyle Trask. Dan Mullen is there. Todd Grantham, their defensive coordinator, is there. They've lost some guys on the defensive front, but I think Georgia's going to have, from a talent standpoint, they're going to have first of all, they're going to have a great defense, one of the top 3 defenses in the country. And they've got a lot of work to do on the offensive side of the ball, but they've got the talent to do it with. The big question is which of the quarterbacks is Jamie Newman, the transfer from Wake Forest, and J.T. Daniels, the transfer from USC, who was a 5-star player for the Trojans. Which one of those guys ends up winning the quarterback job, and how effectively and how consistent can he be? Now, Georgia's got their regular schedule, but they have to play Alabama and Auburn from the other side. So we will see. But right now, today, I'm picking Georgia to win their 4th straight SEC East.
Right. Well, you mentioned something about that quarterback room at Georgia, and I've been confused all along with how much prestige, if you will, has been given to this transfer of Jamie Newman from Wake Forest to Georgia. I didn't know that he was had that much on the ball, really, as far as an SEC quarterback. I know the kid from Southern Cal was a 5-star, and they also have a young high schooler that rated very highly. So, but Jamie Newman, what do you know about him that makes him such a coveted
Coach? I saw him
quarterback
play at Wake Forest. He is big. He is athletic. He brings the RPO game to the offense, which is something Georgia has not had. They've had traditional drop back quarterbacks, and this is something that Kirby Smart wants to add to his game. Todd Monken comes in as offensive coordinator, and so I think early on Jamie Newman's going to get a really hard look because he brings the run part of the game that so many schools have done. He brings that into the offense. J.T. Daniels, very highly thought of quarterback, but at the end of the day, remember he didn't win the job at USC. Somebody beat him out, and which is why he transferred. So but it's. Coach, you know this better than anybody. It's the consistency of the quarterback play. There's a lot of quarterbacks who can make a big play here and a big play there, but do you give us the consistency and the lack of turnovers that we need to have a chance to win in this level? And that's what those 2 quarterbacks have got to prove.
That's so true. Let's jump quickly to the West, and how do you feel about the West, especially given the fact that LSU is going to lose 16 players. A quarterback that just set a standard that has never been done in 150 years of college football. I can't see that LSU being able to overcome that very easily. I know they're talented, but how do you see the West?
Well, and LSU is losing a ton of talent off one of the best teams we've ever seen. I like Alabama. I like Alabama from an overall talent standpoint. I think Mac Jones, who came in to play for Tua at the end of the year when Tua got hurt, did a very, very good job. They have a freshman quarterback coming in from the West Coast, perhaps the best quarterback in the high school quarterback in the country, in Bryce Young. He will be a factor. And I just think overall they've got a ton of talent. And I expect, Alabama head coach had to go through a horrible 11-2 season last year. So I think they're anxious to bounce back from that adversity.
Right, and how do you see LSU and Texas A&M following in that division?
Well, I think Texas A&M has a chance to be one of the surprise teams. And Kellen Mond is playing his third year under Jimbo Fisher. I think they still have some work to do on the defensive side of the ball. So I think they could be a surprise team. LSU, even with the losses, LSU still has a ton of talent. And they have a quarterback in Miles Brennan, who was a young man that everybody wanted coming out of high school. And he was going to take over until some guy named Joe Burrow showed up as a transfer from Ohio State. So now Miles Brennan has been waiting his turn. He's got a lot of talent, has a lively arm, and so we will see. But LSU does not get caught short of talent. It's just talent that hadn't played a whole lot. And I would say by the mid part of this year on, they're going to be a really good football team.
I agree, and you have to remember that Miles Brennan took an awful lot of snaps during the year. As a number 2 quarterback, you're going to get a lot of practice time, and that's he's an older kid now, so he's got a chance to come on and be a real good one. I think too you have to count on their loss of Brady. Who came in, did a heck of a job putting that offense in that opened everything up at LSU. So that's quite a bit they've lost there. But you're right, they always have talent. They've got a lot of depth. Texas A&M is a unique football team. I think Tony, a football opportunity, let's put it that way. They got great facilities, tremendous alumni, and being in Texas, great recruiting, and part of the SEC makes them more attractive. They're really a school that are going to be tough to contend with as we go on.
Absolutely, it's going to be. Listen, and keep this in mind. Texas A&M had a brutal schedule last year. They had Clemson and Georgia, who were on their schedule. Those two teams have rotated off, and they thought they were in pretty good shape on the schedule. Then the SEC released the additional teams last week, and Texas A&M picked up Florida at home and Tennessee on the road. So their schedule looks a lot different now.
Well, that's true. Tony, I told you we wouldn't take up too much of your time. I just appreciate you being on with us. Thanks for your input, and we'd love to be able to get back with you at some point, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, Coach. Always good to be with you.
Thank you.
You bet.
That's Tony Barnhart right there joining us on the show. We appreciate that. Look, Tony's joined us on the show before. Mr. College Football is what he's known as. Of course, you've seen him on SEC Network. Look, he does everything. He writes for Sports Illustrated. He is college football when you talk about it. Everybody thinks Feinbaum. I think Tony Barnhart. And an interesting perspective there. And look, a lot of it is the same thing that we're hearing now. And then it's interesting to talk about, we hear Scott Frost and some of these guys talking about jumping to go play in another conference. And there can be some technicalities that may hold that up. But regardless, we'll talk about that more when we come back from break here, as well as the ACC and the SEC, the medical experts for each conference, speaking out on how you can play this season. Can you play it safely? We'll hear about that, as well as what's going on in the Sun Belt. Everybody forgot about the Sun Belt right here. South Alabama will be happy on this one. All that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you, and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Hey, what's up? Chad here from the Sports Drive. Well, we're into August, that first time that we start to feel the flow for football season.
Football.
Like getting ready to run out of the tunnel to a song like Enter Sandman. Might be a little different this year. Probably no smoke, social distance away from the people, as you might get cheered on by virtual fans.
You can do it!
But overall, we're excited, and we'll keep you posted with the latest updates from high school, college, and the NFL. Join myself, Chad Brillante, and JP right here on the Sports Drive, 5 to 7 on ESPN Pensacola.
For your ridiculous facts, I'm JP. Hall of Fame pitcher Nolan Ryan has one grossly dedicated fan out there. According to ESPN, at one point, a jockstrap he wore while pitching his 7th no-hitter sold for an unbelievable $25,000. Some things are better left unsaid. And 49ers legend Steve Young is great-great-great-grandson of Brigham Young of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, for whom BYU is named after. That's your ridiculous facts. I'm JP.
What do I cherish? Precious moments watching Dad read to my little Eric. That's why I'm so grateful I insisted on an eye exam when I noticed him struggling with the words on the page. We found out Dad has age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. Luckily, the doctor caught it in time for treatment, so Dad can still read. Protect yourself and your loved ones. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-254-6552 for a free packet on preventing and managing AMD. That's 1-800-254-6552.
Hey, this is Chad Brillante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Tuesday afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you joining the show here. Look, appreciate Tony Barnhart coming on last segment right there. Always great to hear Tony Barnhart and get some of his insight. And Coach, as we look across college football, obviously we're still waiting. Like Tony said, that as of what we believe right now, the Big Ten presidents are meeting to kind of make their decision on what to do next. Now there's some speculation that they may move their schedule back to September 26th, like the SEC has done in other conferences, to give them some more time as well. Nonetheless, look, the ACC and the SEC, the medical experts here, everybody always talks about the medical experts and the medical advisory groups, and what do they say? Well, the ACC and the SEC, they both echo kind of the same thing here. And a Duke infectious disease specialist, which is a part of the ACC medical advisory group here, says a fall season can be played safely. He said, we believe we can mitigate it down to a level that makes everyone safe. He said, can we safely have two teams meet on the field? I would say yes. Will it be tough? Absolutely. Will it be expensive and hard and lots of work? For sure, but I do believe you can sufficiently mitigate the risk of bringing COVID onto the field or into the training room at a level that's no different than living as a student on campus. Coach, once again, this is what we've heard. This is, everybody kind of goes back to what do the medical experts say, and this is their advisory groups. And people can say, well, they work for the conference, though. Okay, but understand this. If they make a wrong move here, they're the ones that come at fault in this as well. So SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey went on to say today, by the way, we believe we set a responsible plan. We've delayed our kickoff to September 26th, which is more than 3 weeks after all of our universities will be open for classes. Our responsibility is to make sure our campuses can open the best way possible, and it was a wise decision to slow down the start of the season, and we have adjusted preseason practice and done it in a way I don't think anyone else has. He said, we've got people in pads and helmets at this point. We've been on a slow build since June 8th, and I think that's been very responsible and is at the center of supporting the health of our student athletes in the right way. That decision-making has been and will continue to be our focus, and the decisions of others and are information points for us, but do not determine what we do. So, Coach, when you hear that from Greg Sankey, you hear that from the medical advisory people there, obviously, that's the medical experts, remember. Look, we're getting signs that this can happen. But once again, is it going to be hard? Sure. But, Coach, when you look at this, obviously we have no crystal ball. Do you believe that after everything that's gone on, the Big Ten will look to push back to start September 26th right now to buy them some time? Or do you believe they'll go ahead and axe the season?
Oh, I think if they're wise, they'll push it back. But keep in mind, it's a little different when you talk about the SEC and you talk about the Big Ten and the Pac-12. You're talking about politically and culturally a different animal. And you have to kind of keep that in mind as we go forward. The big problem with the ACC is they're going to have some teams in certain areas of the country, like Boston College and maybe West Virginia, I don't know, but where the mindset would not be in the same vein as you might have at Clemson or other places of the ACC. So anyway, having said that, I think the Big Ten, to answer your question, I think if they're wise, they'll push it back, give themselves some more time. But they've come out with so much so early that some people are going to accuse them of taking the easy way out, not making a decision. But listen, they've got some problems. They've got some real problems. I don't know. There are going to be some ramifications that are that will be in the purview of attorneys and other people, financial advisors and so on, to make those decisions. But I'm telling you, there's some coaches that want to play and a number of players that want to play football. And this movement is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the Big Ten's going to have some problems there. I can assure you if they vote to shut it down. The most ridiculous thing I've heard is that we'll just not play this fall and play in the spring, and in the meantime, all the players can still work out and do things 3 days a week or whatever. Now, how in the world are they going to keep their attention when they're not going to play until next spring?
Yeah.
It's tough enough to keep it for 2 weeks before you play. So that, I think, is out of the question. And there's no doubt that these kids are safer. Just ask yourself the question, if they're at home, where are they going to get the medical treatment that they would get by being on campus and in that atmosphere, the athletic department? Where are they going to get the attention, the food, commitment to a certain discipline, staying away from things? They're much safer, much, much safer. So to answer your question, that's a long-winded answer to your question, but I think the Big 12, the Big 10, will vote to put it off and take the safe way out today. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's I'm on the fence one way or the other, because you're right. As soon as you kind of get an idea of where you believe it's going, places like the Big Ten, the Pac-12, they kind of throw you off course. But for ACC fans out there, Florida State fans, whoever you are out there, by the way, the ACC is planning on their season. No coaches have been told to stop or to postpone practices. Like we saw in the Big Ten, coaches were kind of obviously giving off days yesterday when normally their off day would be today, just because they're awaiting the answer there. That's not happening in the ACC. They're rolling forward. So once again, it's interesting because, Coach, you talk about it and the players and the safety and things like that. And I've said from before, let's hear what these guys want to do. Let's hear from the players. Let's hear from the coaches. Media members speak. They try to speak for everybody when these guys have a voice. We talk about, well, these players, we need to hear their voice, and yet these guys are speaking out, and these same people that were like, well, these players have a voice, how dare you try to hinder them, are the same people who are like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. They're just 18 and 19-year-old kids. And I'm like, well, you can't have it both ways on this. And these guys, look, understand that these kids that are speaking out, they're the ones going through this testing. And some of this testing is not fun. Some of this testing is not great. The protocols they're going through are not the best ever. Let's make that very clear. And yet they're coming out and saying, we want to play. We want to play. So that's what I'm saying in this. The people that are in this, I will never speak for a player and say, how dare you opt out or how dare you play, because I'm not the one going through it. I make that very clear. So that's where we got to be cautious in all this. But, Coach, like I said, the ACC's planning on playing. The Sun Belt obviously has made an announcement that they're going to play this year. That's interesting because the Mountain West decided they're out. The MAC football, and they're out. There's other conferences that are out. Sun Belt may be trying to piggyback a little bit as well. Who knows? But they're in the same, obviously, area here as the SEC, the ACC, and those schools. So going to be interesting. And you know what? If they play, good for them. That will be awesome, as South Alabama will probably like that too, as well as at that brand-new stadium out there. But, Coach, one thing I want to ask you before we go to break here, there is obviously some articles that are swirling around, and it's interesting to think about because you're talking about the Pac-12. You're talking about the Pac-12 was the first to bring that whole movement to where the players wanted a 50-50 revenue split. They wanted better testing protocols. They wanted, other things, all these demands that they had. And that is a lot of people are believing, and I'm just going to get your take on this, that could have something to do with the Pac-12 as well. Not everything, but have something to do with the Pac-12 saying, you know what, we'll talk about playing in the spring. Do you believe that there could be some validity with what's the movement that's going on in the Pac-12? Because it hasn't technically gone away. Let's make that clear, that this could be another cog to cancel the Pac-12 season.
Well, I just say hang loose right now with all that's going on. Keep this in mind. SEC is going to play. ACC is going to play. The Big 12 determines they're going to play. The Pac-10 puts off a decision. I mean, not the Pac-10, the Big 10 puts off a decision. It's also well known, now keep in mind, this is significant, that 4 coaches have said what they've said. That's, in many cases, that would be considered mutiny, okay, or treason, if you want, within the league. But they've really put it on the line. They put it out there. So the players now are being heard, we want to play. There is more and more evidence that players are safer there than at home. So what's to say, who's to say that the Pac-12 could see all this happening and all of a sudden the pressure gets to be so much on them that they have to make a change and decide they're going to play. So anyway, just hang loose. Anything can happen at this point.
Hang loose. That's actually probably perfect over there for Southern California when you're talking about it. But, hey, you're right, Coach. Once again, this is – remember yesterday this time we were talking about the Big Ten said they're not playing football, and now we're finding out there's a possibility they may play football. So, once again, as it seems that this entire virus that's been going on here, hang on day by day, hour by hour. Coach Shinnick and those guys, he said, look, you got to check the news every couple hours here because everything changes on a dime. That's the same thing. It's still going on here. So once again, you know what? We'll find out. Hopefully here soon. Here in a few hours, maybe we'll find out. But if we find out, we'll let you know, obviously. But we got to go to a break. When we come back, interesting. Some baseball news that may be some good news for NFL fans. And an NFL team most likely to decline this year may not really surprise you. We'll talk about all that and more right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
What do I cherish? Precious moments watching Dad read to my little Eric. That's why I'm so grateful I insisted on an eye exam when I noticed him struggling with the words on the page. We found out Dad has age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. Luckily, the doctor caught it in time for treatment, so Dad can still read. Protect yourself and your loved ones. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-254-6552 for a free packet on preventing and managing AMD. That's 1-800-254-6552.
There's a new lineup coming to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Starting August 17th, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin will air weekday mornings 5 to 9. Then Mike Greenberg returns to radio with Mike Greenberg Show, 11 to noon weekdays. And the Max Kellerman Show will air from 1 till 2 weekday afternoons. New programming, same brand. And still Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson. This Tuesday afternoon. Appreciate you joining the show with us. Final segment of the show here. And, Coach, it's interesting. A little baseball news that I think may be some good news come NFL time. We'll see. Not for everybody, but obviously maybe for some teams. Now, with that being said, the Cincinnati Reds have submitted a plan to the state of Ohio and Major League Baseball to let fans return this season. And this plan apparently has been approved by the city and county, according to an email. And so now they're obviously emailing seasonal employees to see if they would like to return to work. They can obviously opt out. But they need a response by, well, tomorrow right there. So this is interesting because Ohio Governor Mike DeWine came on and said last month that he didn't know if fans would be allowed to attend. But he's kind of turning changing his tune a little bit right here of the possibility of them coming back. But with it being approved by city and county, obviously it's being looked at now at the higher level. Coach, if this is approved, now obviously it's an outdoor stadium. Governor Mike DeWine said that you have to wear a mask. Obviously the distance is the question here, but because it's outdoor, it's obviously a lot safer. If this is approved and the Cincinnati Reds are allowed to have fans back, do you believe that a lot of these, obviously, well, not just NFL, but MLB and all these other sports teams will obviously work to get their plans submitted as well? And, I mean, that could be good news for the NFL.
Yeah, and it's yet to be determined what they're talking about. They're talking about a percentage of capacity and social distancing, certain rows you can't sit in, how they handle entry, exit. All those things would have to be determined. But overall, it sounds good. I agree.
Yeah, and I think obviously everybody right now is just trying to play, so that's why probably we're not talking. I remember we were talking about it a little bit, probably about a month ago, of trying to have fans here, and that kind of went down the drain a little bit. But, hey, hopefully it works out. That could be good news for fans all over. Coach, look, one team, we're talking about some declining teams here. Now, Bill Barnwell obviously releasing a group. Number one on his list, the Green Bay Packers. Obviously 13-3 last year, according to their Pythagorean theorem expectation they got going on here. They believe that the Packers will have 9 wins. Now, Coach, when you look at that, that's a significant drop. That's losing four games there. 9-7 for the Packers. When you look at this team, Coach, obviously, look, they didn't go out and get any wide receiver help like they thought. Now that we're hearing, we believe in guys like Alan Lazard, St. Brown, Valdez-Scantling, guys that haven't really gotten it done before. I like Lazard; he's a good player, but you still have Devontae Adams. Outside of that, you still have obviously Aaron Rodgers. They drafted Jordan Love. We're hearing that they're wanting to run the football a lot more now. Coach, do you see that the Packers are going to have a significant decline? And what I mean by significant is 1 or 2 games here, according to what happened last year.
I would agree that they're gonna have a decline, if you want to call it that. I don't think they're going to win 13 games this year. I don't think there's any way they can, because they just do not have the weapons. I don't care what they say about how much they like Lazard or whomever. They don't have the weapons, and they had a terrible draft. They drafted a guy in the first round that can't help them, maybe never. He certainly can't help them the foreseeable future. That's awful. I think that sets back your franchise 2 or 3 years. But anyway, no, I see them having a decline. I certainly do. Now, whether it's 4 games, I don't know, but it could be. I wouldn't be surprised, but certainly 2 or 3.
Yeah, I would agree. Coach, that division is a good division. Let's make that very clear. And it's gotten better. We know, look, with teams like the Bears, look, they're trying to figure out that quarterback situation. We know that defense is good. It's a matter of that quarterback. Who's going to be the quarterback? It seems a lot of people believe Nick Foles. They brought him in. They've paid him, but Mitch Trubisky's going to get his fair shake at it. You look at the Vikings and what they've done this offseason, getting Justin Jefferson, basically trading Justin Jefferson for Stephon Diggs. I just don't it's hard to think that you look at the Green Bay Packers that they could run away with that division, much less win that division. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tougher than ever. And once again, we've said it before, but when you look at the Packers, they had a tremendous opportunity to go out and get some of these talented receivers when you were 1 game away from the Super Bowl and you didn't do it. Now, that Jordan Love, you're right, Coach. I'm with you. It's a guy that may never help you. You took a big risk in bringing him in, but it is what it is. But nonetheless, Coach, that sound means it's time for us to go. Look, had Tony Barnhart on the show. It was awesome. Got a lot of insight, and things are changing ever fastly here. So, you know what, Coach? It's been an absolute pleasure today.
You bet, man. Look forward to tomorrow, as always.
Absolutely, Coach. And, hey, like everybody else, we're sitting here waiting to find out what is going to happen with some of the conferences in college football. As soon as we find out, we'll definitely let you know, and we'll definitely let you know tomorrow right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, Sports Call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey told ESPN's Heather Dinich he's monitoring other conferences, but his focus is on the SEC, and the decisions of others are information points for his conference, but won't determine its course of action when it comes to fall football. The Big Ten and Pac-12 holding meetings today to discuss the fate of their conference's respective football seasons. A group of star players have voiced their desire to play. University presidents are weighing a heavy decision, notes ESPN's Booger McFarland.
If I was a 17 or 20-year-old, I would want to play. I've been training. I've been going through all the rigors of preparation for a season, so that's not even really a question. The NCAA presidents have to weigh making money now or the possibility of litigation and liability later.
Booger on ESPN Radio AM. Stay tuned to ESPN Radio for the latest on this developing story. NFL news, Bengals cornerback Trey Waynes is seeking a second opinion on his pectoral injury. He could be out up to 2 months. He was expected to be a big key part of Cincinnati's revamped defense.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Mornings. Coming August 17th to the all-new ESPN Radio.
I've always wanted to do this in my best Stephen A. voice. Hour number 2.
Hour number 2.
Here on First Take, Your Take. I don't feel like I got it. I don't have the same, like, his voice is just like silk, man. It's nuts.
It's different.
It does hit different, but
nothing. I'm not gonna lie. Nothing makes you a little bit more like on your toes, feel more alive than when Stephen A. says you're wrong. So that happened to me on air today. He's like, you're wrong. You made it worse. I was like, hold up, let me run these facts at you, and I held my own. But he is one of a kind, and we do appreciate all the content he gives us because it's a lot of content.
That is true. I was going to say, Stephen A. constantly lifting up a network around here. Janae referencing her appearance on First Take earlier today that you could have seen. The busiest woman in sports media continues her dominance over Stephen A. Smith and others here. Mike Golick Jr., Janae Agumake here with you guys. It's First Take, Your Take here on ESPN Radio, ESPN News, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN app. You're going to be able to hear us full-time, 4 to 7 Eastern, Monday through Friday, starting on Monday, August 17th. So we're excited about that. We're giving them a little taste this week, right? You beatboxed earlier, Chanae. You've been all over the network helping promote the new show, working hard. So we feel like we're finally getting into a rhythm here a little bit.
We are. This is the appetizer, and then we'll have the full entree this coming Monday. So we're so excited. And again, you guys, we have the best intro song in all of sports.
So and I get to hear that for the first time later today, actually, which I'm very excited about. Oh, yeah. Like, that's something. I don't know if everyone told you that necessarily, but we get to hear that later.
And we have to shout out our producer, Shannon, because he's the one who's playing DJ and also point guard. So
exactly. All important positions on this one. So in the meantime, we get to discuss, because we said this is kind of the appetizer, but really we are diving right into some of the big meal items here because college football has gone wild. We're going to talk to Bruce Feldman here very shortly here, great college football reporter who's going to have some of the latest on the Big Ten and the Pac-12, what they can expect, and some insight into the players that have organized in recent days and some of the things that they have done in all of this. But first, it's time for some Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. And Janae, over the last couple of days, liability has been something that's been brought up a lot. You've seen a lot of people broaching the subject of, well, what if these players just sign a waiver and release the schools from liability and all this? The schools, we assume right now, are doing a lot of listening to medical personnel, to the lawyers involved in this situation, trying to see what would happen if you go through a season and, God forbid, the worst-case scenario happens in all of this. And so our own ESPN, usually you hear him talking about college basketball, but Jay Billis does such great work for us as an analyst on that, and is in addition to that, an expert on all things NCAA. Yep. And he talked earlier yesterday on ESPN Radio Afternoon about the idea of liability versus responsibility in the world of college athletics. Here was Jay Billis discussing that, and I think framing it in the proper way in all this, because we have to remember that how we do that is the most important in all of this, as we're getting ready to get that sound queued up right now for you guys. Apologies for the technical difficulties on my end here for that one. Here is Jay Billis.
I'm not confident that you would have a bunch of successful lawsuits in this. There are certainly liability issues to think about, but I think the schools